So this talk is about the philosophical foundations of Dharma. A lot of Buddhists aren't interested in the philosophy of Buddhism, and that's fine. I am, so that's what this talk is about. So the foundation of the entire Dharmic system, that which kind of underpins everything, are these three truths, or these three doctrines called the three marks of existence. And these have kind of loose translations in English, but really they are the whole doctrine rather than any kind of specific single definition. And in a sense, understanding Dharma is understanding how these three doctrines kind of entwine and flow into human experience, or that's how I see it. This is all totally my views. Please don't take this as being kind of regular Buddhism. Um, so in order to kind of philosophize about the foundations of Dharma, I like to use a tool called a single point universe, which is a thought experiment where we kind of imagine a single point universe. Now we can't actually imagine a single point universe, but we can ask ourselves what true statements are true of a single point universe. You know, what can we can talk about what we can think about it rather than actually imagining it as an activity. They say the Buddha, when he meditated, he kind of meditated to the point of the single point. I kind of romantically like to think that is in some sense connected with this, that he saw things in meditation at the kind of ultimately simple level, which is what now in this kind of cold philosophical way we're going to look at. So imagine a universe that is just a single point, and let's ask ourselves what statements can be true of that universe. Well, we can say that the universe exists, that the single point exists. We know that by stipulation. And we can say that it's identical with itself. And that is all we can say about it, I think. There may be other things, I don't know them, but those two things are all we can say about the single point. If we add another single point to make a kind of two single point universes, so that both points are exactly the same, what can we say about that then? We have a new property that emerges, and this property is difference. We know if we've got a point A and a point B that A and B are different. So we have this newness come in, and that comes from nowhere. That is an emergent property. It doesn't come from anything underneath. It comes from the arrangement of the points. Another emergent property we have in terms of 2 points that we don't have with 1 point is connectivity. We know that if we've only got A and B and nothing else, that there can be nothing else in between A and B, that they must be in some kind of logical sense touching. If we have 3 points, we have new properties emerge. We have the property of betweenness. So the potential for 1 point to be between two other points exists in a 3-point universe, even if it's not actually possible in kind of like intrinsically to that universe. We also have a property that's important to Buddhism, which is interconnectivity, which is that, you know, if we have 3 points, we know that those points can be connected via other points, that there can be points in between, and that's interconnectivity. And that's hugely important for Buddhism, because we can see that it doesn't matter whether we have 5 points or 5 trillion points. Each point is going to be interconnected with every other point, or connected with some points. It can't be any other way. And this leads into Buddha Dharma, because we can see this interconnectivity of all points as being in some sense connected with the higher abstraction of the no ego doctrine of Buddhism. And the way it is connected is because we know if all points are interconnected, then we know that there can be no point that is not connected, as in that is a distinct object or thing outside of the normal connectivity of the other points. And this means that anything that we think of as an object, whether it is this desk, or whether it is, you know, my ego or your soul or what have you, is going to be essentially empty. That it has nothing inside it that is in any sense different from what's outside of it, apart from the arrangement of what it is that makes it up. So it's all about the arrangement. It's not about any kind of perimeters of object existence. And you know, this is hugely important for Buddhism, because it's saying, in one sense, if we kind of look down into any conceivable point universe, if we look down into it, we will never see any objects. It's going to be empty all the way down. And if we kind of look up into kind of like outside of ourselves or outside of our position of observation, we can see that we are connected to all other points in this possible universe, or that every point is connected in both directions, kind of up and down the hierarchy of existence. And this leads into the Buddhist notion of no ego, I think, perfectly, and we can see it comes from these really simple ideas of interconnectivity that we see as soon as we have 3 points. That is what leads into emptiness and interconnectivity, and that is what the Buddha realizes as Anataman in terms of human experience. So it's important to see that the kind of high-level Buddhist concepts like no soul or like suffering, etc., are abstract emergences. They come out of what is before them. They're not kind of magically added to reality. So that's the first mark of existence. The second mark of existence we can't really see clearly, although I think it's there, but we can't really see clearly in the single point universes until we add something to them, which is change. When we add change to any universe, when we add change, as in the change in the arrangement of the points rather than the change in the points themselves, we have impermanence. As soon as we have change, that change must happen, therefore there must be impermanence. So that's not saying that a specific change must happen, but just the possibility of change precludes the possibility of permanence. That's a no-brainer. I don't think you can see it any other way. I think that the ancient Greeks saw it at the time, about the time the Buddha was seeing it, and I think anyone who kind of sits down and thinks about how things have to be in this level will see that impermanence is absolutely essential, that it can't be any other way. And this is the property that the Buddha calls Annica, and this is another cornerstone of Buddhism. So we have these 2 foundational properties of impermanence and emptiness, and we can see how philosophically they must be the case just down at the most basic level. And then we need to ask ourselves, if they're true of these most simple universes, are they true of these rich and complex universes like the ones we live in? I personally think that they have to be. And to think otherwise, you'd have to think, how could it be otherwise? And I can't do that. So, and I doubt anyone can. I think these are foundational universal truths that the Buddha discovered, and I think we can see why he discovered them, because they are so clearly obvious. The third truth about dukkha, which is more complex, the kind of interplay between the foundations and the high level of abstractions, I'll talk about in another video. So that's all for now.